screen. My name is Dan Dendino, and today we'll be learning some chess endgames. We're gonna start with the basic stuff, like checkmate with two rooks with the queen, and then we're gonna progress further to more complicated stuff. Personally, I feel like endgames is my weak spot. That's why I really want to learn them and to practice them more. And I think this stream will be dedicated to it. So okay, let's jump into it. First of all, let's start with simple checkmate patterns. We have two rooks checkmate, and also I will be explaining the main idea behind. I won't be trying to have like a high score here in terms of the speed, because this is more educational at this point for us. So let's double check that the chat is working, everything is fine. Okay, perfect. So let's start. Two rooks mate. So the idea here is when you have two rooks, you basically need to do some kind of zigzag between them to checkmate your opponent's king. In this case, you can see that the rook on f file and on e file are cutting off black's king. So black's king has only g and h file. So we need to bring slowly king to the end of the board where we can checkmate him. So rook on f file is cutting off the king from their file. That's why we need to use the second rook here. Bring the e rook to the g file. And now black's king has to go further to the h file, and we finish with the checkmate by using our second rook on f file. Now, in case where the king is close to one of our rooks, for example, if the king here would be actually on h2 instead of h5, then we would need first of all to move our rook to the safety, like g7 square, and afterwards if the king tries to catch up, he simply can't and make it on time, and he gets checkmated. So very important not to blunder your rook in case king on h2. Don't try to move your rook to h8, because then the king takes the rook on g1. Very important. And we can follow the same principle here. So let's practice again. Here we need to bring this king to the end of the board. It doesn't have to be this file. We can choose any other file, but in the current position, this is the best choice because it's much simpler. And first of all, we need to cut off black king from the fifth row. And we can do this with both of our rooks. It doesn't really matter which one, but we can start with rook on h2, for example. So to cut off from the fifth rank, we just need to move the rook here. And after the king goes here, we will continue pushing the king to the end of the board with the second rook. We'll give a check on b4. And now here comes a very important part, because our rook is currently hanging. So before proceeding with this rook, we need to make sure that this rook goes into safety, and we should move this rook to g4, further away from black's king. And now we can continue with rook h3, rook g2 check, and again, we shouldn't rush with rook h1 because this rook is hanging. Let's put our rook to the safety. And we can't give a check on h1 with rook now, so instead we just move it to this. So the idea here is that black king is too slow than the rooks, and he cannot catch up to them. That's why we have the option to give a checkmate. Okay, so here it's much simpler, because we have a queen instead of the second rook, but very important not to give a stalemate to your opponent, otherwise it will be a shame. So you need to always keep an eye out that black actually doesn't have opportunity to do a stalemate. to watch out for it, especially when you playing blitz games. So how do we start here? Same strategy as we did before. This king is currently close to this file, and also this one. So what we can do is the following. We can start something like this, and I think it could be a good option for us. Let's go for it. So first of all, let's cut off the king from the 5th row. Now we give a check with the rook. Now, very important, we don't want this rook to be hanging, so we move it to the safety and proceed with this zigzag checkmate technique. Here again, first cut off the king from escaping, and then we slowly push him here. Very important, protect the rook. And last exercise for this one. Where's the music? Let's bring back the music. Okay. So here, I think the best will be go here, but we can't give any checks on c3 or c5. So what we should do instead is, first of all, move our rooks to the safety. Let's move our rook here, and this rook we can move to f7, no pressure, and we can slowly start cutting off black's king. Now this one it blunders, so let's move rook here. Slowly you can see the repeating pattern of this technique. It's basically keeping the rook safe and using the zigzag technique to push your opponent's king into the corner. So nicely done. That was our first two rooks checkmate pattern. Now we're gonna do with the queen. And with the queen, it's basically the idea is we can give a checkmate with one piece. We need another piece, and we must use our king to protect our queen while we're giving check to the black's king. That's how we give a checkmate in this position. But again, we should be very cautious not to do stalemate. So we can see that the queen is nicely cutting off the king from the 7th rank and also guarding this corner, so black's king can go only to these squares. So that's what we want to achieve at the end. And now to finish the game, we need to bring our king close so he can support the queen, giving a checkmate of one of these squares. So let's move our king closer, and here we can already give a checkmate on f7. Here we can see the king here. First of all, before bringing our king, let's make sure the black's king trapped as much as possible and he doesn't have any escaping possibilities. So I want to cut off the king from the 7th rank, and the best way to do so is either moving queen to d7 or to e7. Let's move queen to e7, and as in the previous exercise, we're bringing slowly our king to the game, and again we have the checkmate on c7. Here we're cutting off black's king, bringing our king, and let's do 2 more. So let's go like this. So here the idea, we need to be very careful, because if queen f2 check, king goes to h1, king g6 it's stalemate. We need to watch out for this. So to avoid it, let's first move our king to f3. And now I want to cut off black's king from the second row, but very important, not f2 because it's stalemate, but something like d2. And now we can give a checkmate. In this situation, we just need to push the pawn to promote the queen, and we can see that black's king cannot reach this pawn, even if our king was somewhere like h6 square. And this is what, because the king doesn't have enough time to reach to the pawn. So let's push the pawn, and we'll start slowly applying the technique we learned before. So let's start cutting off black's king more and more. Okay, now we're finished. Now we're bringing our king very slowly and checkmate. All right, that was the second puzzle, which was a queen checkmate with a queen. Now we're gonna do the same but with the rook, and rook has more limited options, so we need to be extra careful. Sometimes we need to protect the rook. The queen doesn't really need protection, but rook does. So let's see how we can give a checkmate in this position. So the idea is the following. Again, we want to push our opponent's king to the edge of the board, then cut off him from the escaping option, and slowly bring our king. And when the kings are close to each other, we can give deliver a checkmate on the with the rook. So how should we proceed here? If we give, for example, check on h1, the king escapes, so we don't want to do that. But instead, we can move our king closer to the opponent's king by playing king f4. If black plays king h4, he gets checkmated with rook on h1. So he will have no option but to go up to h8, but in the end it's gonna be checkmate. So let's do that. And now he doesn't have any squares left, so he goes back, but rook on h1, it's checkmate. Now here is a very interesting option, because black has only 2 squares, and if he was on a8, for example, that would be checkmate. So how do we force him to go only to a8? Is by keeping our rook on the c file without moving our king. So any move with the rook on this line except c8 is winning. So let's go, for example, rook c4, black's king is forced to a8, and now we deliver a checkmate. This one is a bit more difficult, because here we need to understand, first of all, what we're trying to reach. So our goal is to bring the king to the a file, because it's the closest to the edge of the board. Now, we can't cut off the king here because the c3 square is not protected. So instead, what should we do is bringing our king to d4, opposing black's king, and then forcing black's king to go either on a file or go to b5, and then we can deliver check on rook on b3, forcing him to go on a file either way. So let's play king d4, and now we're moving the rook to c3. Did I miss something here? Yeah, that was a mistake. Right, let's go back. Let's start over. instead of moving the king, we should move the rook here. This is the escape route for black's king, so let's cut him off of that. And now he doesn't have any escape option because our king controls it. And now we can deliver check on b6. Now we're almost there. Black's king is on a file. Our rook is hanging, so we can actually either protect the rook with the king or just move rook away. So what happens if we move rook away? Here we need to bring our king close as possible. And this is the similar situation what we've seen before in the first puzzle. So we just need to follow black's king. If he goes backwards, he gets checkmated. And if he continues to go up the board, he's still forced to go back at some point, and then we deliver a checkmate. I hope this is helpful, and if you have any questions throughout the exercises, please just let me know. Okay, this one is a little bit more difficult. We have let's see if the chat is working. All right, and let's put some less sleepy music. What do you say, guys? Not like this, maybe jazz beats. Okay, that's much better. So, what do we do here? We have opponent's king in the center and our king is on the corner. So in this case, we need to somehow bring this king to one of the edges of the board. And we can do this only if the king and the rook will work together. So first of all, let's move our king close as possible, like this, and give a check, and try to follow up the king. If he goes, for example, further to the edge of the board, we can simply follow up with our rook. And if he decides to oppose our king, for example, instead of going to d6, he would go to e5, then we can deliver rook g5 check, forcing him to go to the 6th row anyway. And if he decides to do something sneaky, like going king f6, threatening our rook on g5, then we can always bring our king to support our rook. Here, very important, moving our king. And in this case, if the kings oppose each other, we just deliver check with the rook. Now here it looks like if we're trying to oppose the king, he goes the other direction. So what we do here instead, we give, first of all, let's move our king here. And now we can give him an extra move. We can move our rook here, and this will force him to play further. And now we can catch up. And in this situation, we can actually deliver a check and force him further to the edge of the board. Now, here comes the final moment. Again, we're trying to oppose the king. And if he tries to escape, we're just catching up to him. In this situation, let's give him just an extra move. And now we deliver a checkmate. All right, last one, and then we go to more difficult exercise. Let's continue. Now, if we go d4, he will go e6. So instead, let's just move our rook. And now we can see that we control in the 3 square, so let's make him move to the 7 row, deliver rook g6 check. Again, we have the same situation. In this case, just make an extra move with the rook to avoid the situation repeating. If the position repeats itself for 3 moves, it's a draw, so be careful with that. Don't repeat the moves 3 times. Deliver check. Here again, making an extra move with the rook. And that's checkmate. Nice and easy. Alright, let's go to the next one. And this one will be much more difficult. It will be a mate with 2 bishops. And to be honest, I haven't practiced it in a long time, so I'll be trying to trying to explain to you guys, and at the same time I will be trying to remember myself what I'm supposed to do here. So as I remember, we need to push opponent's king into one of the corners of the board. So, and our king will be as a protection for the bishops in case they needed to be protected. So let's see. Here we have kings opposing each other. Black's king is almost in the corner, so we are pretty close. Our king is controlling these squares. Dark square bishop controlling the c1, the escaping square. So the king has only 2 squares. And we need to bring our last piece into the game to finish things off. So light square bishop can give a check on d3, forcing king go to a1, and then we have bishop c3, checkmate. So this was very easy because it was like kind of the last part that you need to do. And now slowly with each puzzle, it will become more difficult and difficult. Any questions you guys have throughout the game, feel free to ask me. I'm here for you. So we can see that dark square bishop looking at this diagonal and light square looking at this diagonal. So we need to do something similar that we had with the checkmate with 2 rooks. We need to do a zigzag, but instead of doing zigzag across the files or the rows, we'll be doing zigzag with the diagonals. So here, dark square bishop needs to go to e3, given check, followed by bishop d5, delivering a checkmate. So king cannot escape to f1, very important. Let's start with bishop e3, and now bishop d5 is checkmate. Now this one is tough because the king is not in the corner yet. First we need to bring him into the corner. So how do we do that? Let's see. So we have our bishop controlling this diagonal. King controls these squares. There is escaping square d6 here, which will allow black king to escape. So let's block it with bishop f4. Now king went to the second file, sorry, which is already achievement for us. I don't want him to go back to the 3rd row. So in this case, let's play bishop e4, preventing black from accessing the c6 square. And here we have already the king on the b file, but it's not the corner. So let's see how we can bring him to the corner. So let's start with bishop c5. Okay, I just cut off him from b5. Now he's at the last row, and he can escape through here and here. I don't want to do that, so let's bring our king to c5, controlling both of these squares. Now I want to bring him to the corner, so I don't want to do stalemate either. Okay, let's play bishop c7, I think. Bishop c7, then king a7, king a7. No, I don't like that much. Let's go with bishop d2. And now let's go with bishop a5. The idea is to control this square, and after we go back with this bishop, we control these squares, and then we slowly can push our king to the game. Yeah, that was a bad idea, so we should have played bishop c7 along the way. Yeah, to me it's a challenge as well, because in practice I didn't have a lot of situations like this, delivering a checkmate with two bishops. But let's see. So if king goes here, it's a stalemate, because then black's king doesn't have any squares to go. So let's see what we should do here. Let's push a little bit back, bring the king. Okay, and now we can see the bishops are controlling the escape squares. Bringing our king will be actually stalemate. Now I just need to remember where I need to put the king in the final position. Let's give a check. Okay. Okay. So now he has... So we need to bring our king to a6, giving black option to go between these two squares, while our bishops are controlling the escaping squares here. And now to finish the things off, we need to do a little maneuver like this, and then can deliver a checkmate. Can we actually though? Yeah. No, yeah, okay. Goes like this. Check. Checkmate. Okay. That wasn't easy for me, to be honest. Let's go with the new puzzle. Two bishops and a king. Alright, first of all, let's bring our king closer. Alright. Yeah, he can escape here. Let's move like this. The idea is to push the black's king into a corner. Okay, let's give a check. Okay, so black king cannot escape here because we're guarding this square. Our king nicely guards this square, so black king has only options going here. Okay. So let's do some maneuver here. Now actually, if we just do a simple move with the bishop waiting move, no, he can go here. Yeah. Need to be extra careful. This, for example, is stalemate. Okay. So let's waste an extra move. Does this work at all? How it was in the previous position, I'm trying to remember. Wait, this check, he goes here, then he can escape. No, that's bad. Alright, he can go only here. Wow, this is challenging, guys. Yeah, if it was a real game, it would be a draw. Remember, I think it's either 40 or 60 moves until it gets automatic draw. I think 60 moves without exchanging pieces will result in a draw. Oh my god. What am I doing? What am I doing? Oh, I think I got it now. Yeah. All right. So we need only to waste a little move here. Then we give a check and checkmate. Wow, guys, I won't lie, that was a bit difficult. All right, let's go with the last puzzle. Let's force him into a corner. Waste this, checkmate. All right, that was much simpler. Yeah, so the king should be always, like, kind of always in this square, opposed to the black skin in the corner. So if we look at the board, this, where should the pieces be, kind of? Okay, very important, like bring the king here, allow two escaping squares, and then slowly come with the bishops. Okay.